Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Thursday, 18th September 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley advocates for no war as US-Venezuela tensions continue to rise. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family, yes we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. With a growing rise in crime and violence across the region, Prime Minister Barbados Mia Amor Motley says Barbados will not be part of the ever-increasing trend, and she warns those locally that officials will continue to do everything in their power to arrest the situation. She was speaking at the St. George North Branch meeting on Sunday evening. Rachel Agard reports for CBC News.
With warships and submarines presently stationed in the Caribbean Sea, Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley is warning that with its current trajectory, the world may be bumpy going forward. She says Barbadian officials are vehemently against drugs and crime and have been fighting to arrest the situation in Barbados.
But what we must not have in this region is war and other actions that will lead to persistent conflict, if not open warfare. Dialogue has never failed mankind. Never. If it did, the wars from hundreds of years ago would still be going on all like now. And whenever you end up in war, however long it takes, it is dialogue that brings what? Peace. And I can only urge from this humble place in the center of this country that I pray that all concerned will recognize that it is too easy for us to have face-to-face discussions. And I say so, conscious that the opposition and government in Venezuela, having reached decisions a few years ago to bring down the temperature before the elections, signed in Barbados the agreement not to go after each other.
And Prime Minister Motley also warned those who believe they can continue to terrorize communities across the country.
We have to find a way of making sure that a handful of people who feel that it is theirs to torment and to terrify communities in this country are invited to go to another country or to put it down. There are places where war exists. If war is your business and you like it, I am sure we can find a way to get you involved in the wars over there, but not in Barbados. And for us to succeed, it isn't only appropriate to say right, it is for us to go in our houses and when we see wrong, call out the wrong.
According to the Prime Minister, the country now has to have a conversation about the future of the nation's children, country, communities, and families.
That people have access to guns, the guns don't automatically shoot somebody triggers it. That people, regrettably, and I've seen it, I've been around long enough to see the spikes and troughs with respect to drug use, substance abuse in this country.
Prime Minister Motley stresses that we now have to do the necessary to ensure Barbados remains on solid footing. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Barbados is set to have a new head of state. Former Minister of Health and Wellness, Lieutenant Colonel the Most Honorable Jeffrey Bostic, has assented to be nominated as President of Barbados. This came after Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley and Leader of the Opposition Ralph Thorne agreed on his nomination to the post. The announcement was made by Deputy Speaker of the House, Neil Rowe, during a sitting of the lower house on Tuesday. Current President Dame Sandra Mason's term comes to an end in October, and Mr. Bostic will officially enter the post once elected.
Section 32(1) of the Constitution of Barbados provides for the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition to jointly nominate a person to be elected as President of Barbados. I have the honor to inform you that Lieutenant Colonel the Most Honorable Jeffrey Davison Bostic, FB, in VO, has assented to the proposal to be nominated as President and Head of State of Barbados by myself as Prime Minister and by the Leader of Opposition, the Honorable Ralph Thorne, KC MP. I therefore officially advise you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, of the jointly nomination of Lieutenant Colonel the Most Honorable Jeffrey Davison Bostic, FB, NVO, by the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in accordance with Section 32(1) and 2 of the Constitution of Barbados.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
In another item out of Barbados, that country's top judge has called for a major power shift that could redefine the independence of the courts. Chief Justice Leslie Haynes says it is time for the creation of an Office of the Judiciary, which would take financial and administrative control away from the Attorney General. Deanza Roberts of CBC News has that story.
The Chief Justice's call was made at the opening of the 2025-26 legal year, where he addressed a myriad of changes that need to come on stream. He says modern judiciaries require their own professional administration to safeguard the separation of powers. The proposal follows the first ever meeting between CARICOM heads of government and heads of judiciary. A dialogue, he says, must continue annually to protect judicial independence.
The next step should be the preparation of a cabinet paper, and if approved by cabinet, will lead to the enactment of legislation necessary to effect the change and will lead to the creation of the Office of the Judiciary.
While backlogs and technology upgrades remain priorities, Chief Justice Haynes stressed the need to address undelivered decisions by High Court judges and unassigned matters. He said the way of doing a number of things will change. Among them is child support payments, which he says will be able to be paid to any court. The Chief Justice wants a court system strong enough to stand on its own and modern enough to serve a changing Barbados. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
In other news, with the announcement of the retirement of Trinidad and Tobago's current Chief Justice Ivor Archie, as he addressed the opening of the new law term, one legal officer is calling for a smooth transition to his successor. Jesse Ramdio of CNC3 News has more.
President of the Assembly of Southern Lawyers, Cyril Lacken, is calling for a smooth and transparent transition process after Chief Justice Ivor Archie announced his retirement today. In a statement to CNC3 News, Lacken noted that the Chief Justice has borne the dual responsibility of shaping jurisprudence while managing the administration of the judiciary under often challenging circumstances. At the same time, Lacken underscores the ongoing challenges within the justice system citing infrastructural deficiencies, case backlogs, and the need for modernization and adequate resources. She also called for structural reforms that would allow future Chief Justices to focus primarily on their judicial functions. Lakan pointed to the proposed office of the Chancellor as one such measure to better manage administrative responsibilities within the judiciary. On Monday, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessek confirmed that legislation for the establishment of the office will be brought to Parliament before the end of this year.
The reshuffling of the Deputy Commissioners of Police to different offices and the sending on leave of Assistant Commissioner of Police Wayne Meister following directives by the Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara have raised eyebrows within the TTPS. Several senior police sources are questioning whether there is possible tension within the executive of the TTPS following comments made by the Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander 1 week ago. TV6's Mark Bassant reports.
A week after a comment from the Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander about a possible division in the executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, directives from Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara came down, and all three Deputy Commissioner of Police had their portfolios changed, with Junior Benjamin moved to administration from operations, while DCP Natasha George was moved from administration to investigations and intelligence, with DCP Suzette Martin moved from that office to operations. But the most puzzling move, many insiders say, has to do with Assistant Commissioner of Police for Central and Southwest Division, Wayne Meister, who was sentenced 16 months vacation leave starting on Monday next, at a time when the country is under a state of emergency. Meister, sources told TV6 News, appeared to be confused over the move, as he had only visited the Police Service Commission yesterday to undergo a polygraph test as part of an assessment to act as a DCP, with one of the DCPs expected to go on leave soon. When TV6 News contacted ACP Meister today, he said he would not comment on the immediate situation, but said he was still going through with the assessment for DCP, and if he is called by the Police Service Commission in the future to serve, he will do so. Senior police sources indicated that what was also peculiar in sending ACP Meister on vacation leave was that several other senior officers of the TTPS had accumulated more leave than Meister, but were not sent on leave. TV6 News sent questions to Commissioner Guevara asking for the reasoning behind sending ACP Meister on leave, and whether there had been any tiff or any differences in the past with ACP Meister. Up to news time, Commissioner Guevara did not answer. At the recently concluded Trinidad leg of the CPL, Meister had been named the Gold Commander. Mark Bassant, TV6 News.
Amid the rising tensions between the US and Venezuela over drug trafficking charges, Nicolas Maduro mocks Trump, saying, look for drugs in his own country and not Venezuela. He also calls the US escalation in the Southern Caribbean as politically motivated. We on News has more.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has taunted US President Donald Trump over his drug trafficking accusations, pointed out the hypocrisy of the United States, where marijuana production and consumption is legal in many states on medical grounds. Maduro dismissed Washington's claims as lacking any moral authority and insisted that Venezuela will never legalize drugs. He further called Trump's accusations a politically motivated attack.
If you want to find marijuana, look in the US, where they produce super synthetic marijuana and it's legal, both production and consumption. What can they say about Venezuela? They have no moral ground. In Venezuela, it remains illegal and will stay illegal. We will never fall for the stupid trend of legalizing any drug.
Será ilegal. Aquí no vamos a caer en la moda estúpida de legalizar ninguna droga.
Now, despite his mocking tone, Maduro is treating the latest escalation with the US as a serious act of aggression. He described recent US military strikes on Venezuelan vessels not diplomatic tensions, but as a multifaceted aggression. He called them judicial, political, diplomatic, and military actions aimed at destabilizing his government and forcing him from power.
No es una tensión.
This is not tension. It is outright aggression. Judicial aggression when they criminalize us, political aggression with their daily threatening statements, diplomatic aggression, and ongoing military aggression. Venezuela is empowered by international law to comprehensively confront this aggression. It is not tension, it is aggression.
De carácter militar. Y Venezuela, hoy puedo anunciar
Today, I can announce that communications with the US government are severed. They are severed by them, with their threats of bombs, death, and blackmail. We do not operate under threats. With intimidation, there will never be anything, and they know it. So, they have moved from a stage of strained communication to none at all, and history will continue.
Nada.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.